so much soil diversity over there as well. We're also sit on the same parallel that some of the best growing regions in the world do. I mean, we're on the exact same parallel as the Rhone Valley in France, and Bordeaux is only a couple degrees north of where we sit. So we kind of play with the same climate. So growing the top varietals that grow here in Washington are either from Bordeaux or from the Rhone Valley area. And so we get to play with a lot of that same climate influence. The other big thing that goes for Washington State is the Puget Sound. You've got what's called a rain shadow effect. So the Olympic Peninsula is one of the wettest places in the country. All the water that comes in off the Pacific Ocean, all the clouds come over the mountains there, and they just dump everything. Anything that's remaining makes its way over the Puget Sound and over Seattle, hits the Cascade Range right here, and dumps the rest of it. Yeah. And then by the time it gets over to eastern Washington, it's got very little moisture left. So the rain shadow effect makes for a super dry and arid area out kind of the plains and highlands of eastern Washington, which is great for us because we like to stress the vines out a little bit more. We don't want them watered down and bogged down. How's this one tasting for you?
This is actually really good, man. And you guys are hearing all this information. He's giving way more information than I could ever give you guys.
You'll get there, brother. You'll get there.
But yes, like I said, follow us on Spotify, Spreaker.com. Also, this is Wedding, Music, and Wine. We're in the Mary Hill Winery with Colin, the tasting room manager, doing our wine tour this weekend. So you guys listen in for our next winery that I'll be stepping into. But Colin has been so gracious to give us, what kind of wine is this, brother?
That's our Pinot Gris 2021. We just released it last weekend.
Pinot Gris, they just released it last weekend. Check out the Mary Hill Winery here in Woodinville, please. Thank you, whoever is listening in Washington areas.
So you said you like a little bit more sweet wine?
I do.
Let's see what I got open for you. We'll play around with it.
Let's play around with it.
It's going to have to be a reward, though. You're not going to be able to taste anything after we do this.
All right, Colin, what's this one?
We're going to do a little side-by-side, so finish that little bit you got left right there.
All right.
So we do 2 Chardonnays here. One of the fun things we got to do as a team before we did this tasting, we actually change our flight every month. So the first Monday of every month, we switch to a brand new flight of 7 wines. We actually do 7 wines on our standard flight. We do that all for $25, which is a great value in the area. And then with a $30 wine purchase, people get the tasting fee taken care of. So $5 more, take something from you love, let the tasting be on us. What we've got on your left-hand side, what you have in your hand right there, brother, is going to be my classic Chardonnay.
Okay.
And then we have right next to it the Reserve Chardonnay. So again, playing around with kind of stylistic approaches. Chardonnay comes from the Burgundy region in France. They do a much cleaner version of Chardonnay than I think a lot of people are used to. People tend to rope Chardonnay all into being big, buttery, and oaky. Yeah. But that's because that's what we're exposed to here in the New World. We get a lot of California influence, and that's definitely what Napa started with. Yeah. So this is definitely more of a Chablis or French Burgundian style. A lot cleaner. We do this in stainless steel barrels, and then we put oak staves into it, so it gets a little touch of oak, but not enough to kind of threaten the acidity of it. Okay. Right next to it, you've got a Reserve Chard. That's right. Our Reserve portfolio all focuses kind of on the opposite of the classic portfolio. It's not so much about how it should taste or how it's supposed to traditionally taste. This is about what our winemakers want to showcase. And our winemaker, Richard, he's originally from New Zealand. He worked with a phenomenal vineyard in Napa called Hall Vineyards, and he kind of worked hard on their Chardonnay and Cabernet program. They have some phenomenal wines on there if you're ever in the Napa Valley. Definitely book a tasting with them because they're one of my favorite spots. But you can definitely taste the influence from Napa Valley. This is all done in brand new French oak barrels. You get more of that caramelized toasted oak. You get a little bit more of that kind of fresh baked brioche note going onto it. You still get a good amount of citrus, a little bit of tropical twist to it, but for the most part, you're seeing, I mean, even in the color, you're seeing how clear this first one is, and you get this almost golden haze straw color in the other one that's coming from the oak barrel that we use. But when we did this as a team, before we tasted, We did these two. We did a Chardonnay from France. We did a Chardonnay from Australia. And then we did a Chardonnay from Napa. And we blind tasted all of them in brown paper bags. Super old school style, but
that is old school.
It was fun to see, especially, we have some new team members here, so it was fun to see people's eyes kind of go, wow, Chardonnay, same grape, tastes 5 completely different ways. It doesn't just have to taste like the one thing. You get a lot of what we call ABC drinkers, anything but Chardonnay. Yep. They come in and they see 2 Chardonnays on the fly. They're like, I don't want to do it. They're like, just trust me. You're going to find one of them that you like. And again, it's nice to showcase how one grape can taste different no matter where you're going. That's why you always got to follow wine. Follow wine.
You got to, brother. This one is good.
This one is the one that was made of stainless steel. Mm-hmm. And then this one was
Two bottles. So you got no one.
This one is actually better. This one right here is a little bit better.
How do you like the preference between the two of them?
I like this one better.
The
second
Reserve
one?
Chardonnay? Yeah, it's got, I think, New World palates, which most of us are. We like a lot more fruit to be kind of in the very front of the palate. I can appreciate, the first one, sipping on that alone. It's clean, it's crisp, it's really pleasant. Yeah. But if I'm looking for, something that's a little bit more robust, something to stand up to some food, I'm definitely playing with the Reserve.
Playing with this one right here. Yeah, you like she likes the first one better.
You like the first one better? Well, that just means you get your own bottle, he gets his own bottle.
There you go.
That's usually how it plays out in my household. There was a brief moment in my relationship where we liked the same things, and I found I never got any of it. Yeah. So then when we like different things, there was a lot more of me of what I wanted to go around.
All right, this is Weddings, Music, and Wine with Nuu, with Mr. Colin here at the Mary Hill Winery here in Woodinville. He gave me a good education on Chardonnays, and he's bringing out something else now. Now, what is this, brother?
We're going to move on to some reds, man. We do predominantly reds here, but like I said, the fact that our portfolio has got about 15 plus different white wines in it is kind of rare for the area. Again, a lot of people focus on the reds. It's where the market value is. Yeah. It's also one of the, I guess, reds grow incredibly well really all up and down the West Coast. So the first one is going to be our classic Sangiovese. We use 3 of these. Have you guys had the chance to visit Italy before?
I have, but that was about military, though.
Okay, cool. What branch?
Navy.
Nice. Thanks for the service.
Yeah, I appreciate it, brother.
Where'd you go?
Shit, the ship, because I was on 45-day suspension. For fighting.
You looked at it from over the railing.
I got to see it on the ship, but I did not get to do anything while I was
that
there.
is good punishment.
Yeah,
that is good punishment.
Yeah.
Did you shape up after that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You surely did. So you shape up or ship out, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So if you ever, kind of pro tip I ever give, if you all ever go to Florence or the Tuscany region, one of the best things I ever was told before I went to Italy was, hey, never order anything off a wine list. Mm-hmm. Always just ask for the house red or the house white. Yeah. It's always going to be something that's made local. It's usually made from someone who's 9th generation making wine just down the street or just out in the countryside. The biggest thing you're going to find, especially in the Tuscany area, is Chianti, which is made from Sangiovese. The great thing about Sangiovese is it is a really light, fruitful style of wine. It's not overly complex. For me, it's definitely the concept of beauty and simplicity. But one of the big things is Sangiovese has an incredibly natural high level of acidity for it. And so that high acid, and pretty much any high acid wines make for great food wines. Yeah. So when you go to Tuscany and you just order a jug of Chianti on the table, it doesn't really matter what food you start bringing out, the Chianti always finds a way to go.
It goes with all of it.
Exactly. So thinking going into summertime, and a lot of times we gear our flights here every month towards what season we're in. Yeah. One of my favorites is always being Thanksgiving because I'm not a huge turkey fan, so the whole flight that month is whatever's going to save turkey on the table for me.
Exactly.
But right now, we're just coming out of spring and going into summer, so we're looking at especially today, 70 and sunny here in Puget Sound. Yeah. I was barbecuing last night, so
I'm talking about barbecuing all freaking day.
That's right. I mean, this is one of those wines that you can pop out really anytime. It's great on its own, super tasty on its own, but if you're ever halfway through a bottle and you're okay, now we should start cooking, it doesn't really go into the, when you have a job, you got to be all right, we have to do something that matches up to the cab now.
Yep.
This does not limit you to that.
Gotcha.
This allows you to really throw anything that you want on there.
And it's good too, brother.
Glad you like it.
Yeah, I like this.
That one, do you remember?
What's the name of that one, brother?
That's our classic Sangiovese.
Sangiovese.
You gotta like flail your hand like you're Italian.
Sangiovese. Weddings, music, and wine with Nuu. That's me. We're here with Mr. Colin, team manager, tasting room manager, wine enthusiast, wine extraordinaire. Just a wine god is what he's doing right now. He's giving me so much education right now. What do we have now, brother?
Too much credit, brother. Too much credit. Too much credit. I'll pour it over here so you can finish that other one.
Appreciate you.
This is going to be a Bordeaux varietal called Cabernet Franc. This is from our reserve portfolio, and we kind of already mentioned that our reserves are really reflecting of what our winemakers call it and what our winemakers want to showcase. Gives them the opportunity to, well, a lot of places you find that winemakers can be stuck to what they're supposed to be making, especially if you go to France or old world Europe. You get a lot of places where they're like, okay, this is what we grow in this region, so this is what you have to make.
Yeah.
Nothing pisses off a winemaker more than being told what you have to make.
Exactly.
So for us, because winemakers are also artists, they need to have kind of an outlet to showcase their creativity. Our reserve portfolio really allows our winemaking team to do that. So again, it's not so much about how things should taste, it's more about what they want to showcase and what their style. So one thing that I love about our reserve reds in general, all of our reserves are in the middle of the floor right there.
Okay.
So there's
right here.
16 of them in that portfolio as well, right up there.
Gotcha.
They're all really balanced. So hopefully you're going to taste on the palate on this. It's juicy.
Like yeah.
There's a bunch of really ripe, juicy fruit right off the front of the palate.
Completely different from this one.
Oh yeah. The other one, Sangio is a little bit leaner. You feel that acidity. The Cabernet Franc and really all the reds that are in our reserve portfolio are really about balance of fruit, balance of texture. You don't get a lot of the massive tannic finish. It feels like your mouth is drying out.
Yeah.
You get that more juicy mouth watering, like you just bit into a cherry pie or something.
Yeah.
You're like, all right, yeah, I can go to town on this. And I like that. So again, this is one of those wines where you don't necessarily have to have food. It's really enjoyable just to drink on its own. It's more full body than the Sangiovese is. You find that a lot too with old world wines, and I think you can see that in the Sangiovese versus this. Old world wines can be a little bit leaner on the palate, have as much fruit up front, kind of as lingering on the end.
Yeah.
New world wines tend to be more robust, more full-bodied. I think a lot of us really enjoy that style. If you've got a new world palate, you kind of want something that's going to kick you in the face a little bit.
Exactly. Think you're needed, brother.
Hi.
This is a simple question. Sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah, this is good. And that's how we do it on Weddings, Music, and Wine. I told you guys I was going to be going out to some wineries, wine tasting. We're up in here, Woodinville, Maryhill Winery, talking with Mr. Colin. He's getting, he's still at work, so he's needed right now. So that's what he's doing right now. But he's just keep on bringing out different wines for us to taste. Appreciate him for doing this. Our next winery, I will let you guys know. We are 17 minutes plus in. They said he liked to talk, and he had been talking since we've been here, and I absolutely love it. I absolutely appreciate him. Keep it coming, brother.
We're almost there. You only have to listen to me for a couple more minutes.
No, you've been awesome, man. I appreciate you for doing this.
We're building up to the favorite wine I think you're going to like.
Okay.
Y'all done with this one, though?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Make sure to check this out on Spotify. It's going to be on Spotify tomorrow, so that way you can listen to your voice and appreciate it.
I've done that before, man. It's scary. Scary thing.
I thought that too when I first started doing this, and I was like, wait a minute, that about to sound pretty awesome.
I do get a lot. You do radio, you have a radio voice. So first time I heard myself on the radio, it was a little bit. I was a little bit shocked.
What's this one? We're
all right. So on the left-hand side is going to be our signature Bordeaux blend. So that's called Serendipity. Our owners, Craig and Vicky, we're actually one of the oldest still family-owned wineries in Washington State. There's older brands, of course, a lot of sold to other conglomerates, or unfortunately during COVID, we lost a number of family-owned businesses. Unfortunately, the wine industry took a big hit, especially for those that were really dependent on direct-to-consumer traffic and didn't have any distribution channels. I love direct-to-consumer. My time in Sonoma County, I worked with Kendall Jackson.